Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question comes to us from the True Stories collection, as in it actually happened at an event that I was actually judging. Amy attacks with Chainer, Nightmare Adept. Nick blocks with the Grizzly Bears. Before damage, Amy activates Chainer's ability, and then she lets the damage go through, having the two creatures trade. After combat, Amy wants to play the Chainer that just died from her graveyard. Is this possible? Okay, so to answer this question, we're going to need to know exactly when it is that you choose which creature you're going to be able to cast from your graveyard. Notice that with Chainer's ability, it doesn't have any targets, and it also doesn't ask you to make any choices on resolution. So that would indicate that you don't make the choice of which creature is getting returned, either when you're activating this ability or when you have that ability resolve, but sometime later. So how does this ability work exactly? Well, anytime you want to cast a spell, there has to be something in the game that's actually positively letting you cast that spell. So, for example, here's the rule that normally lets you cast creature spells. The way that Chainer's ability works is it gives you a one-time pass that lets you cast a creature spell from an unusual zone, in this case, your graveyard. So, how would that work? Well, after the ability resolves, the game is going to see that anytime you're casting a creature spell, you could be casting it from your hand or from your graveyard. After you use your one-time pass, then the game goes back to normal and it uses that normal rule, which only permits you to cast creature spells from your hand. However, up until that time, then you can play whatever creature spell you want from your graveyard. So how does that come into play here? Well, because you aren't asked to lock in ahead of time which creature spell you're going to be casting with this ability, that means that up until you actually do use your one-time pass, you could be casting any creature spell at all, including, as Amy's hoping, the Chainer that gave you that permission in the first place. There's no requirement that the creature has to be in your graveyard at the time that ability resolved, or that you have to have it in your graveyard at any other time other than when you're casting it. So, this is certainly different from some other types of abilities that do have other types of restrictions. There's lots of different ways that this type of ability has been templated throughout Magic's history, so be careful about using this ruling with other cards that might be worded slightly differently. Now, there are a couple of other really interesting things that I wanted to point out about this case specifically. For example, if you look at Chainer's triggered ability, you can see that it does not use words like whenever another creature or something similar that would exempt that ability from applying to itself. So that means that if you were to cast Chainer from your graveyard, then it would give itself haste. I'm not sure if that matters too much in this question as applied here, but I'm certain that you could come up with a way that it might matter. Another thing that I wanted to point out is that after Chainer leaves the battlefield and comes back, it's considered a new object, which means that its ability hasn't been activated yet this turn, meaning that you could discard another card and give yourself permission to play another creature from your graveyard. Pretty awesome trick, right? And that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again tomorrow for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.